Congrats to all my patrons who hawked in on the SSPK calls that I called out last week. SSPK was up over 11% on Friday. These calls are up 180%, and I don't think we're stopping here. Let's talk about it. Hi y'all, my name is Greg and I make videos about the stock market and options trading. Today, we're talking about WeedMaps, the huge news that just came out, and what to expect next week with my price targets. But before we get into it, if you want me to make more updates on WeedMaps stock, make sure to let me know by leaving a like down below and subscribe if you're new to the channel. With that out of the way, let's talk about WeedMaps. WeedMaps just held their merger vote, and just as expected, a majority of the shares voted yes. 22.3 million shares voted yes, only 4,000 shares voted no, probably by accident or by short sellers, and 775,000 shares abstained. This means that the merger is finally official, and we only have a few more days until this is finalized. The closing on this and the ticker change to MAPS is supposed to go through next Tuesday on June 15th, and I'm super excited about this. I was a day off on my estimate expecting this to go through on Monday, but it's better late than never, and it gives me another day to pile into the stock. So far, I've got 340 shares worth around $6,500, and I have 5 options that are worth around $1,300. And I've got a strong feeling we're gonna make a boatload of money on the stock. Just today, the stock went up over 11%, and I think it has even more room to run, especially going into next Tuesday when the merger is finalized and WeedMaps finally has their own stock. Analysts will start covering the stock. They might get another interview like we saw back in December with CNBC. And finally, our broccoli boys over on r/WeedMaps Investor Club will be able to post their due diligence over on r/Wall Street Bets. All this combined should bring more awareness to WeedMaps stock and hopefully give a huge boost to its volume. The average volume for the stock over the last 30 days has been 316,000 shares traded per day versus Tilray, a really big cannabis company, traded 34 million times per day, meaning that Tilray is traded 100 times more often than WeedMaps is per day. I don't think that we're going to close this huge gap, but I do think it's going to narrow, and WeedMaps can easily be traded millions of times per day versus the few 100,000 shares that are traded per day right now. This will make WeedMaps stock move a whole lot more quickly and hopefully towards the upside, since I think this is a great stock. In fact, I think this is the best cannabis stock on the market. And I don't just say that because I have a lot invested in this company, but because I really mean it. And there's 2 reasons for this: profitability and scalability. WeedMaps has been profitable ever since their inception 12 years ago, and you can't say that about a lot of the cannabis stocks that are on the market right now. And another one of their advantages is scalability. A lot of other cannabis companies are facing the issue of scalability because we don't have federal legalization here in the States, and the states that are legal or heavily saturated, these companies don't have a lot of room to grow. WeedMaps, on the other hand, has been growing consistently at a 40% compounded annual growth rate over the last 5 years, and even without federal legalization, they're going to continue to grow since their business is based on software instead of the plant itself. Getting right into my price analysis, right now I have 3 price targets, and I'm going to give you my plans. My first price target for WeedMaps stock is going to be at $24.50. This is the high that they saw after their first huge rally back in late January, and I think this is going to act as a major resistance. If we reach this price target, WeedMaps stock will have gone up by 27% from where it's at right now, and this will be the first point at which I would take profits on my call options. Right now I have 5 call options on WeedMaps stock, 4 options on the $22.50 strike price expiring in July, and then 1 call option with a $12.50 strike price expiring in October. I plan to unload half or 2 of my July calls if we hit my $24.50 price target, and at that point these calls will have made me $590 or 563% profit. Keep in mind though, I bought these calls a few days ago when WeedMaps was trading between $16 to $17, so if you're hopping in at $19, you won't get nearly as much profit. You don't have quite the amount of upside that I do. My second price target, where I'll unload the other 2 July calls, is going to be $30. If you want to learn how I came up with that price target, go ahead and check out my last video where I outline how to draw up a valuation for WeedMaps. You can come up with your own price analysis and take profits whenever you like. If we reach my $30 price target though by next week on Friday, these calls will have made me $1,474 or 1,340%. But there's something that I didn't consider when I came up with this price target, and that is projections, the future. Right now we're in the middle of 2021, so using 2020's revenue to come up with my price target doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially since 2020 was a pretty rough year for pretty much every business with the illness. A lot of dispensaries were likely forced to close down that could have otherwise been listed on WeedMaps and improve WeedMaps revenue. Since right now we're experiencing a reopening and a few new states have passed legalization, I think that WeedMaps is going to see a huge boom in the number of dispensaries listed on their website and an increase in revenue accordingly. WeedMaps estimated that they're going to do $200 million in revenue for 2021, and this was not accounting for new states legalizing. So this could be even higher, but I'm just going to go with what WeedMaps said. Using their $200 million revenue projections, we can come up with a new price target of $40. The way we can calculate this is by using a forward price to sales ratio. We'll multiply that $200 million in estimated revenue by a forward price sales ratio of 30, giving us a market cap of $6 billion. WeedMaps was supposed to be going public at a valuation of $1.5 billion based on a $10 share price. Right now they're trading just above $19, putting them at around $3 billion valuation. And if they reach my $6 billion projection, this will put their stock price at $40. At this point, if they reach $40, I would unload my last October call. And if I'm right about this call will have made me $2,270 or 473% profit. I'll also be up by 117% on my shares. And at this point, I would probably consider trimming my position from the 340 shares that I have right now. That would be worth over $14,000, making up my biggest position, even bigger than Tesla, down to around 300 shares. And since I have hundreds of shares, I could sell covered calls, collect more premium. And if I'm still bullish on this, I'll use that premium to buy more shares of the company and ride this out over the next 5 years. That's my plans for right now, at least. If WeedMaps stock starts moving a whole lot quicker and we get a lot more volume than I'm expecting, then I might have to raise my price targets. And if we don't see the hype that I'm expecting, then I might have to lower my expectations. This is the whole reason why I outline multiple price targets and why I plan to take profits along the way. Otherwise, this $1,300 that I have in call options could expire completely worthless. Hopefully we reach my price targets over the next couple of weeks and we make some big money on WeedMaps stock. I think this is going to be a huge opportunity, but if not, I'm holding on to my 340 shares for the long term because I've got broccoli hands. Shout out to the broccoli boys over on r/WeedMaps Investor Club. Thank you to all my patrons for their support, and thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video. And as always, remember to stay positive, stay green. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye guys.